Hello everybody, Adriana here and welcome to my brand new video. So I want to talk about today about a very close to my heart topic, and that is like, why do you binge? I have been one of those women who struggled with binging my whole entire life, and I couldn't understand why that was happening. Why did I experience all those kind of emotions and chaos and just a chaotic way of eating until I found out the information 2 years ago when I was getting qualified to become a nutritionist, when they were focusing on the behavior change and understanding the patterns of your behaviors and where kind of the all started. So I want to talk about kind of three things in this video. The first one is the mindset traits of people who binge. Second thing, their behavior traits, and then the third one, how you can start working towards your recovery, or for you to get better and also for you to get in control. So the first thing I want to talk about is the mindset traits. I would really love to hear from you. So if you're finding yourself in any of those the patterns of behaviors, or kind of if you catch yourself that's kind of how you think or how you feel, then I would really love to hear from you, because I think it's kind of why is this so important is because, you know, there is the better way of feeling and the better way of living life, not just kind of suffering and feeling that your life is completely gone out of control and that you actually can't get better. I want to tell you, you can get better. You can get in control over your eating, over your life, over your emotions, or your thoughts, or every single thing that you feel like currently is out of control. Why you are feeling there right now is because you haven't got the information or skills to overcome that current obstacle. So the mindset traits. The first thing is people who are binging normally feel that they're out of control. They are feeling quite negative towards the things in life, towards the outside world, but also towards themselves. They are very self-critical. They feel most of the time guilt and shame about their behaviors, and they are constantly battling how to get the control over their life through, for example, if there is kind of specific issue about eating, they're constantly trying to seek new diets to kind of help them just get in control. But they still, no matter how many diets they go through or how many things they follow, even they're paying thousands of pounds for coaching, or until you understand where the issue is, you are basically going just to be masking symptoms. This is the same thing. I don't know, you're basically experiencing any pains, and people are giving, doctors are giving you medication to mask the symptoms, but they're not discovering where the cause is. So I want to tell you more about the cause, but kind of before I kind of start, so obviously as well, like about the mindset traits is the perfectionists. Sometimes they're high achievers. They like to have things, everything kind of, you know, everything right. They like to be right. Also, they are very impatient. So they want to get everything now. They want to get results now. They want to get better now. So this is the thing that obviously kind of all of this, so being negative, and also focusing on things that are out of their control, that's kind of one of the biggest things. So they're focusing on the external things, they're focusing on situation, on time, on money, on other people, what other people are doing, and that's basically where they're just feeling that feeling of that, and also they are feeling not good enough. So they're not feeling that they deserve to be happy, or it's kind of that deeper layer that it's almost hidden. Nobody sees it. They never talk about it. But this is one of the things that's almost like eating them alive. And that's obviously causing an issue. In my case, my binging was obviously connected with just the depression and just the pressure to, you know, to sort my stuff out, and the more I put the pressure on myself, the more I felt like I was literally, you know, like you're trying to hold a fish, and that fish is just constantly like, really, that was me. It's like, I want to have a good body. I want to, you know, like I want to be, it's like, yeah. So I wanted to be kind of in control, to be kind of more inspirational for my clients, and I really wanted to show them how it's done, and I was totally out of control. So a second thing I want to talk about, let me see here. Second thing I want to talk about, the behavior traits. So kind of what you do. So you're looking into diets. You're looking the external solution for your problem. You're feeling, the meal plans or the recipe books. You probably have hundreds of recipe books at home. You are constantly searching for another diet, or maybe like you join the Slimming World of Weight Watchers, but everything seems to be kind of, on the surface. Nothing is kind of touching where actually the problem is. Obviously, like, you're completely out of control, but also you are having you're having really strong urges and impulses towards foods. So towards foods that obviously cause you the comfort, that, it can be like a reward system, but also you are restricting the food intake, and then obviously getting really hungry, and then you just binge, and that thing basically goes completely out of control. So I want you to kind of stop now, and I want you really to think. When I discovered about my eating disorder, which was obviously bulimia when I was a teenager, and then I was bulimic for a year at uni. I was studying physical education, and I just want to tell you a story now. So I was kind of, the last thing kind of what really kind of tipped my what I felt like I've completely lost the plot. It was kind of my depression days and the kind of huge anxiety. But anyway, so I was following one kind of diet. It was a bodybuilding diet. I was having 2 kids, and just after, I think Layla was maybe 2 or 3, I really wanted to kind of get shredded. And I paid one online coach, like, she's really famous anyway. So, but she was, like a bodybuilding diet. And I followed her kind of like strict eating plan, which was basically I ate breakfast, lunch, and dinner, the same breakfast, lunch, and dinner for 11 weeks, or yeah, it was 11 weeks. And obviously, like, you were not allowed to eat anything sugar. You were not allowed to eat anything that is outside of her plan. And also, what they were doing in a Facebook group, they were putting quite a lot of pressure and shame on people who slipped, and people who were completely, who maybe lost the control. So even if you lost control, you felt like you can't share it, because obviously you're going to receive that huge backlash. So I basically learned from there that, I suddenly kind of felt almost like a volcano. It was like, I just felt that huge pressure. I'm not allowed to eat. I can't eat, so I need to eat that. I remember it was like half a kilo of, I'm just exaggerating, but it was huge pile of like green vegetables, like roasted Brussels sprouts and broccoli, and just a tiny bit of olive oil on top of it, and lots of chicken and rice. And anyway, my friend came from Romania, and we went to the restaurant, and I was like, okay, I just kind of, you're feeling like just a huge pressure. Oh, if I don't stick to it, I'm not going to be able to get results. And I said to her, I can't have a dessert. And she's like, you must have a dessert. And I was like, no, I can't have a dessert. And she's like, yeah, come on. If you can't have a dessert, what you're going to achieve? It's like, Anyway, I had a dessert, and from that moment, I literally felt like a volcano erupted. I was absolutely out of control, which I was stuffing. The amount of food that I stuffed in my face in such a short space of time were really extreme. And I just remember, that trance, if you're maybe binging, and then if that is you, and I just felt like a trance, like I had almost like an out-of-body experience. I was shoving food in my throat, and I almost looked at myself from the outside and say, what are you doing? And it was literally uncontrollable down my throat. And at the end of it, you just feel like that overwhelming feeling of failure and shame and guilt and self-abuse. Is like, what are you doing? Are you crazy? You've just done it. You had incredible results, and now you're all messing it up. My head just went into, wow. It was, I literally had no idea what was going on. I really had no idea. And that was literally that was, I think, a year before. I can't remember now, but it was before it was a few months before I started my nutrition qualification with macronutrition uni. And I remember sitting with Martin, it was the main guy, Martin McDonald, and I said to him, Martin, do you have any idea? I literally can't stop eating. I feel like I've I've really lost control. And, you know, it's terrifying because I know if I carry on eating like this, I'm going to gain so much weight. And, you know, and I'm a personal trainer and I can't gain weight. It's, you know, it's embarrassing. Anyway, he said, don't worry, you're going to learn on the course about it, or like on, you know, on the course about it. And it was like 6 months later, I was like binging and I was just ballooning. Any of my clients who were coming, and I was doing personal training in a studio, well, in a gym, and I remember that feeling of shame. I literally, every single time you go in a gym, and I looked at myself in the mirror and I just looked bigger and bigger. And I remember there came a time when my actually PT top was too tight. And it's just that feeling, the deep inside of such a shame of like failing everyone. And at the end of it, kind of deep down, failing myself, failing the idea of health, failing idea of control, of like right nutrition. Anyway, so, and then when I started learning about eating behaviors, and so obviously like, you kind of need to kind of dig deeper, obviously, because I had issues my whole entire life. And I just want to tell you now, kind of the story about my kind of family and my bringing up. So I'm coming from the culture, Croatia, where kind of food is our thing to enjoy life. But my mom has always loved cooking. That was her way of showing us that she loves us. So she always kind of started cooking food actually at the beginning of the day, and she was cooking until the lunchtime. And then, you know, there's always smell of food and the cooking, and there's always tons of food on the table. And I just remember like being so stuffed. The way we all ate, it was literally after you eat, I always felt like I'm going to pass out now, how exhausted I am. I remember it almost like, you know, every lunch or every dinner, it was just so much food. And also I can remember that we had cakes every single day lying around the house. And I just remember that I always kind of kept saying to mom, like, why have I need like to eat like cakes all the time? You know, like obviously I prefer to eat cakes and have food. And then I kind of started developing some really kind of some issues with my stomach where I was kind of vomiting once a month. And so now I'm kind of connecting that when I want you to think back like far away in the past, kind of where do you feel like you picked up on your behaviors? So for me, it was mom always literally feeding me so much that I was like, Mom, can you just stop cooking? And anyway, so she refused. She kept up going, and she still now phones me and she says, oh, do you want me to share the recipe? And I was just like, you know, it's just that thing that I realized, okay, I'm not surprised that I've kind of ended up messed up about food. So, but I have established issues that I hated even touching food. I hated cooking. I hated being in the kitchen. Every time when we get the food delivery, you know, kind of for the family, I literally felt like my stomach was coming up. So again, I want you to go back. Think about what was your approach? What feelings did you have when you were sitting at a table with your family? Did you have maybe any negative events that have been triggered? I know, for example, that because as a teenager, I was always in a conflict with my dad. And I remember, well, when I look back, I can literally remember that I was being sent off the table almost all the time. So probably it wasn't, I'm exaggerating, but to me, when I look back, I felt like I had been sent off to the room all the time because, I don't know, I didn't do something right or whatever. And so that from that point, I feel like that started kind of creating the anxiety around food and the anxiety around eating at the table. And you know, and I didn't know that. I never looked back and thought, oh, okay, that's because of that. But, you know, I'm not saying that you should go in the past and kind of trying to discover what it is, but to help you to be at peace that, you know, that it's kind of, it's not your fault that you've picked up all the kind of those traits and behaviors. Maybe your mom didn't have a good relationship with food. Maybe she forced you to eat to finish the meal until the end, or maybe she just kept saying to you, you need to eat less because you're now too big. Or maybe some other people in school or kids in school were picking on you and your weight, and you started being so body aware that you were just thinking, oh, I'm not good enough as I am. So what happened? And you literally just started eating more. and kind of, constantly, literally in between the battle is what you need to look like and what you're at the moment capable of, and you're literally swinging in between those two. And it's very difficult until you kind of really understand why you have those feelings towards food. It's really difficult to even start working towards your better recovery, or like towards your gaining control and just feeling better about eating. So also, I think it's binge eaters and their behaviors as well. It's very chaotic. You're probably feeling very chaotic in life, and it's just in everything. So you just feel like your head just is, complete chaos, and maybe like you're probably as well having emotions and emotional intensity all day long, up and down, and as I said, like I think one of the biggest things is just having that huge urges and impulses, like I need to have the food now. And when it comes as an emotional intensity, your brain is basically telling you, and your body is telling you, I need something to calm me down. What that is, and the brain, because you've got the pattern of behavior and pattern of, so you have the trigger response and then the behavior, and it's basically ingrained in you already, and you're like, what I'm doing wrong. It's, you need to go back to start recognizing, okay, I've got triggered now, so I'm going to have now the urge and impulse to eat food. So, but instead of having this behavior, going towards the kitchen or getting a cupboard and just getting stuff out of my, out of the cupboard and just stuffing on my face, I am going to step back and I'm going to breathe and I'm going to gain control, because I can change my behavior, to find a different coping strategy, and literally keep repeating that pattern from trigger, response, behavior all the time. And this is the thing that I really want to tell you, that when you start having understanding is in how actually the emotions are created, why did you develop that type of thinking, or your beliefs about eating and how you should be eating, like that perfect diet, and you want to have everything right, and you want to eat, I don't know, carrots, salads and chicken, and eating really healthy and drinking enough water during the day, when you're completely out of control. Because why? Your impulses are already kind of created as a habit of behavior, and then you always end up literally towards the same thing you're doing every single day. Anyway, so if you kind of can really notice this, please do let me know. Post in the comments below. Is there something that you do? And also, what is kind of, can you notice any of that? And kind of, did you maybe get any light bulb moment while listening to this? And then the third thing is what to do next, how you can get better. So one of the biggest things is self-awareness. That's where everything starts, becoming self-aware. Observing yourself kind of from the outside when it comes to see yourself. How do you react? How do you feel when you're triggered by something? But also, I think it's really important for you to understand how the emotions are created. So you are having three things that are affecting our emotions, and that is where we are focusing on. So especially if you're focusing on things that are completely out of control, you are going to be chaotic. So instead of focusing on things that are out of control, you're focusing on things that are in your control. And there's tons of stuff that you can do. It's what the amount of time you're watching TV, what's the amount of time you are spending on your phone, what's the amount of time that you are taking care of yourself, what's the amount of time that you're cooking, cleaning, or having to-do lists, and literally every single thing that you do is in your control. But if you're focusing on things that are out of your control, you're all going to be emotional wreck all the time. Next thing, you are basically what meaning has to you. So for example, if let's say something happens, and if you're having a meaning, let's say someone maybe looks at you, or maybe your children tell you, oh, I don't want to do this. So what that means to you is that that they are really naughty, they are disrespecting you, they are ungrateful for everything that you do. Or you can look from the perspective, they're just not in the mood, and they're just tired, and it's okay. If they don't do something, and it doesn't bring any kind of value to your life, but it's the only thing is that you want them to do that. So for you to understand, it depends from the meaning, what that means to you is going to trigger you. And then the last thing is basically what you do with your body when you're getting stressed out, observing what's your body doing. So like your physiology is that you're crunching your shoulders, you're getting tensed up, you start breathing really sharp, and then you just become chaotic, and your head is just like going. And for you to gain control is that you can start changing one of what you're focusing on in your head by your own thoughts. Second thing is try to change the meaning, but maybe changing the language, the way you use, but that's obviously like, for completely another video. And then the third thing is really changing your body. So our body can be used as a tool to change our emotions through basically movement. So for example, if you're really feeling down, and if you're going for a run or doing the workout, or even if you breathe and meditate, you're going to notice a massive ease and peace that your body has given you. So for you to be able to kind of snap out of that is changing your body. Breathe, meditate, go for a walk, go for a run, use your body to kind of get you back on track. So also when you are when it comes to thoughts, when I was doing my counseling, and I never thought that I didn't have to listen to my thoughts. And then when I realized that, and actually when I've learned and understood, and when I've practiced it, I've realized that I can be in full control what comes to my head, literally. And so now, in comparison, when I was a total emotional wreck, now I am in full control. Obviously, sometimes I get triggered, and I was like, okay, now let go. It's time to move on from there. But it's great information that if I have been emotional wreck for 39, 40 years, and since I've learned that information about trusting my own intuition, wisdom, and common sense in comparison to trust my own brain or my thoughts, I am a new woman. And I really want to tell you that you can gain control when you learn, when you get skilled at it, and when you keep practicing every single day with your self-awareness, and also self-compassion is one of the biggest things, is being good to kind to yourself. The next thing is to if you're currently at the beginning of establishing the binge eating, is that you really need to start getting into a routine of regular eating patterns. So that is a regular breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I remember when I started doing that, when I've learned through my course. I need to drink water, sorry. I can tell you that was for me the hardest. Eating 3 meals a day and having snacks. Well, snacks, you don't have to if you're not hungry. But I just remember that pattern. It was just so extremely difficult because I was out of sync with everything. I was literally not eating anything during the day and literally just binged at night, or sometimes having a breakfast and not eating anything during the day, having my hundreds of coffees, and then at the end of it, literally just binging and completely losing control. So having 3 meals a day has been the hardest for me, but that is the way that you can feed your body and almost start you start learning again how is to feel full, or how is to feel when you are suddenly feeding your body and you actually don't have the urge anymore to binge because you're not hungry. And that is one of the things that I really would recommend you 3 times a day, having just a fruit snack or a little snack in between. So, and you are just going to notice such a huge difference on what it does to your head, and also on the patterns of your behavior. And then the next thing is use the tools to help you. So if you at the moment hate cooking, or if you are cooking too much, so you can basically do the meal prep. So if you love cooking, do the meal prep, put them in the Tupperware for 2-3 days, put them in the fridge, and then the rest put in the freezer, and basically just be prepared for the day ahead. And then the second thing, if you hate cooking, like it was my case, I literally ordered myself from the online, like a food delivery. At that time, we were using a prep kitchen, and then later on, we ended up with muscle food, but you have a fitness chef that you literally just get food delivered to your door. and it was cooked, so you basically just need to heat up. So for me, that was huge, because if I didn't have that, I just would never cook. I'd never prepare myself a meal. And then the last thing, you have those now Gusto and HelloFresh, or I don't know if you're watching from any country, maybe you can just literally just check out like really healthy deliveries. So you basically get the full box. You just choose the recipe, and they just send you the full box of the ingredients that is necessary for that recipe, and you just cook. So but I really want to tell you, first things, kind of what you need to do is first thing what you need to do is understand, go back in the past, and then understand kind of where this pattern is coming from. And this is not, this is a skill. This is really a skill that you simply just can't ignore it, because it affects your life. It affects you on emotional, physical, and all other levels, you know, that can completely control your life. And if you're thinking about food all day long, then please, it's, you know, you can do something about it. Anyway, so if you want to do something about it, I 100% can help you. I have been through it. I have education for it, and what's the most important thing, I've got the experience, and I know how hard it is to get out of that black hole. So if you want to know any information, you can literally just go on my website, adriana.co.uk, just go on a contact, message me, or you can literally just comment below and let me know. Did you have any takeaway from this? Or but I do really recommend you share this, because there's so many women out there who completely lost control over their eating, and they're just battling by themselves. Another diet is not going to sort it out. Changing your mindset, changing your you know, your routine, but also understand why you're doing it in the first place. Anyway, thanks so much for watching, and I am very, very excited to hear from you. So I will speak to you really soon. Bye bye.